Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Hits and Misses. My boy, wow. I'm messing this first one, messing it up already. I'm Tumi. That is my name. I'm fantasy football strategist on TikTok, and I do different types of fantasy analysis and just make a lot of fun videos. This is my friend Eric.
Yes, sir. My name is Eric. Just like he said, I also follow football. I don't have a podcast or anything, but I'm quite a fan of the sport. Football and basketball, that's what I'm made of, man. Let's do it.
Yep. So basically, the idea of this show, and we somehow convinced PlayerProfiler.com to give us a show, but there's a lot of stuff going on in fantasy, and we just felt like there was the need for a safe space to talk about all the action that just happened. Right now, there's not really a great place to go, like right after kickoff. I mean, the game's just ended, and where do I go to just download all of the stuff that just happened? Where do I go to just vent a little bit about like people who just really sucked today or people who just went crazy today? Like, where do I go for that? So this is a place that we want that to be. We want that to be a venue to you to come, just let all your stuff out. We'll talk about some of the biggest hits and the biggest misses of the day. So I'm going to stop talking. Let's just get right into it. The one thing I want to do really quick, just highlight some of the big injuries. There's still a lot more information, but I'm just list off some of the quick ones. Then we're going to get into our hits and misses, okay? All right, so Nico Collins really crushed us, left with a calf very early. Jake Browning, he left with a thumb. It's not considered super serious right now, so there's still more information to come from that. But honestly, that offense is looking pretty good under Jake Browning right now. CJ Stroud left with a concussion. The whole team on the Texans just really got banged up. So we're going to just see how that goes moving forward, because there's a lot of teams now who are in that 7-6 record in the playoff race. So we'll have to see like how his health progresses, how Nico's health progresses, because that's definitely going to impact the playoff race. Justin Jefferson, oh my God. I mean, come on, man. Like the worst luck ever.
Everybody was waiting for this too. Since week 5, I believe, everybody's been anticipating this. And unfortunately, I believe on his second catch, everybody was watching. He just had to go down. I think he had to even take for consideration when he went to the hospital just to make sure everything's okay. So it's unfortunate, but yeah, everybody was anticipating this, and that's just how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, it's a tough one today. Justin Herbert also, that's another massive one. So he went out with I think it was a finger or thumb injury. Easton Stick came in and promptly let that game go. With the swiftness, he let that game go quick.
Easton Stick. I was like, that sounds like a middle school in the suburbs of Vermont or something like that. I was like, what kind of name is this? Easton Stick.
It sounds like one. I mean, it's like I used to play hockey. It reminds me of like the brand Easton and like hockey sticks and the bags and stuff. But it definitely reminds me of like a fake name on Madden, like for a player, like a default player, something like that.
Easton Stick, like a knockoff deodorant. What the heck?
All right, so that's all the injury news. Let's just stop bumming ourselves out. But let's get into who killed it and who really sold us this week. We're gonna just kind of run down some of the big names this week. So Eric, I'll let you go first. Who was a big time baller for you this week? Maybe on your personal team or just overall?
That's where I like to start. On a personal team, I got to go with Breece Hall. We weren't even anticipating him to play this week. And between all the all-purpose yards and getting the touchdown, the Jets aren't really known to move the ball, but this man put up points. They have nowhere to go but him. He has the talent, and all we can do is imagine what if he would do if he had Aaron Rodgers. Today he had a great day, even when you were thinking, given his injury throughout the whole week being monitored, that he wouldn't even do anything. Over 25 points in PPR. Fantastic.
I mean, it's ugly, but he's getting it done, because even over the last few weeks, I feel like it was either 4 or 5 weeks straight, he was not literally getting over like 28 rushing yards. And he didn't really do too much today either. He got 40. But the receiving, and the thing I was concerned about was Boyle checked down to him a lot. Simeon checked down to him a lot. So I just wasn't sure, because Zach Wilson really wasn't doing that much. So I wasn't sure if that was going to happen. But yeah, it did. So that's something that we really like. It's nice to see from him. It's still a little scary. I mean, so much of his work is coming from the receiving side, but I definitely agree. I think that was a massive hit today.
Color me thankful.
Yep. I have him on a couple teams, and I've been really just eating that pile of something every week on Breece.
We all have.
Yeah, somebody Toronto in the chat said like Brees is so talented. That Brees is immensely talented. I was really telling people to buy low on him, and that was looking like an awful take until like like this week. So I'm glad. I hope it's gonna keep turning around, man. All right, so I'm not gonna pick Garrett Wilson because I obviously I love the fact that he like with Zach Wilson there. Apparently he's the elixir for them, their offense. He went 9 of 14 for 108. But the guy I'm gonna pick, I don't want to just. It's so easy. I'm gonna do it. I'll talk about Debo. The game just wrapped up. I've not been the biggest Debo guy, so I'll definitely gotta take a bow and give him credit. 7 of 9 for 149. This offense is so ridiculous, and everyone's healthy. This is the thing that we've just not seen in the past. Normally, we would see like Debo have a good day, and then like CMC. Well, CMC always had a good day, but like it was always the other guys who were like interchanging who was gonna have a good day. The top 4 guys all had a great day. Purdy had a great day, and they only scored 28 points, but it was like they got all the yards. It just felt like the offense was super consolidated to them. Debo went for 149 in the air, got a touchdown, almost had another touchdown, but then got a rushing touchdown. Like he had 35 PPR points, but he could have had even a bigger day.
Incredible. Like 2 weeks in a row. We weren't able to talk about him last week because that game was live, but he talked trash ahead of the game, showed up in the Eagles game, wore the black Air Force Ones. If anybody watching know if you put on some black Air Force Ones, you standing on business. And that's exactly what he did. I don't even own some Air Force Ones that's black no more because the consequences of doing things incorrectly with some black Air Force Ones, I can't afford in my life anymore. You really know you are something about it when you put on some black Air Force Ones. Respect to Debo Samuels, dead at. Real talk, man.
It's true though. Like if you ever see somebody come at you with black Air Force Ones,
talk first.
Just avoid them. Like avoid them, bro. Like
talk it down.
Yeah, man. It's like you cannot play. And they had like they were wearing black Air Forces, but they were wearing like black leather. When you see a lot of big like dudes just wearing black leather, I'm a little scared. That situation coming at me, bro.
That's my line right there. You got it.
Mm-hmm. You got that. You can pass by. You got that one. But yeah. All right, so we're gonna go back and forth. We're gonna go with like a lot of hits, a lot of misses, but let's just get into some of these misses, man. And the thing that sucks this week is these misses really could have messed up your playoff opportunities. Like you had to win this week, a lot of people. And so what would you say one of the bigger misses was for you, Eric?
On another team, this is a league where I pretty much have already sold this team. It was the only bright thing that's been on this team is Chase on the Bengals, 3 of 4 for 29 yards. I mean, he's been pretty reliable throughout the season for me. Mm-hmm. I mean, everybody in that league has been asking for this man, but this game, a game like you said, given the week we're participating on, you certainly were hoping he would do better than this. And that quarterback has been very well performing. Mm-hmm. So you're thinking, given the way he's, dotting the ball around there, that Chase, the best player that everybody would rely on, he's going to do well. This game was a stinker. I don't have anything negative to say about him. It just wasn't a good day, at the office, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that it was so disappointing, like he really started to pick it up. Like, so 2 weeks ago, he had a decent game, but literally like 2 of the passes that were headed to him literally were tipped. And he just happened to catch them. So he went for I think it was 82 yards in one of the games. And just
very nice.
He was solid. Last week, he went crazy. The team scores 34 points on offense, and he's nowhere to be seen. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the most disappointing part of it. But honestly, like, it's just kind of a microcosm for, like, the top picks this year, man. Like, if you had Jamar Chase, you likely are, like, fighting for your playoff life this week because he really hasn't been there for you consistently. So, like, you really needed him to show up. And that's the thing is, I expect him probably to show up next week. I expect him to show up the next week. Like, he'll be fine. Jake Browning is, as long as he's healthy, which it seems like he's going to be okay. Like, Jake Browning can distribute the ball enough.
Exactly.
And like even Higgins almost had an amazing day, but he like pushed off on that one touchdown. But like you had to get Chase to win. So hopefully if you had Chase, you won, but it's very possible you're out of the playoff hunt if you had Chase today.
And that one really hurts just because Browning, even with the loss of Burrow, Browning has been pretty darn decent. Like you said, they put up points. So you're like, man, how do they do that and not utilize what is expected to be their best offensive weapon? So it's something that you just really did not anticipate. It's a major letdown. So that's why I went there first. That one I did not see coming at all.
Yeah. I mean, the reason was Chase Brown just came out of nowhere. He didn't come out of nowhere for those who are like super into like his dynasty profile. Like his I have him on whatever dynasty team I have Chase Brown because I know him coming out of Illinois, super explosive. Honestly, wasn't even sure if Joe Mixon was even going to play this year on the Bengals based on how the contract talks were all going, and he had like some off the field issues. And so I was really heavily invested in Chase Brown, and it's glad to see like if you put him in space, he could just tear it up, man. The thing is, like, it's hard on the redraft standpoint. You can't really start him with any sort of level of confidence. I mean, he got under 10 carries again. He just makes big plays if you get him the opportunity, but it's hard. It's just hard to rely on him week to week. But that's really, to me, that's the biggest reason why Chase didn't have a good day is because Chase, well, yeah, that's weird. Jamar Chase didn't have a good day because Chase Brown took his word. He was the better Chase.
First name, last name.
All right, so who's a miss from me? There's some options today. I got to go with Mike Evans, man. Yeah. Mike Evans. Oh, gosh, that one hurt today. It hurt today because another guy who had an almost touchdown that was taken off the board because his hand barely touched before his second foot touched. Like, it was right there. But 1 of 6 for 8 yards, bro.
That's tough.
That's tough. That singes your soul.
You know that set some people back because that's highly unexpected, especially given last season. You give him that consistency. You know, everybody give him his kudos for that. You certainly didn't see this coming. I mean, geez, that was a bad game.
It was trash. It was terrible. It was trash.
Yeah,
that hurts. That hurts. I keep even looking at it, hoping the number changes. And this is a type document like this. It's 1 for 6.
Exactly. 8 yards.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot more misses coming. So let's talk about let's try this. There was a lot of people who performed today, and some of them have been performing consistently, but some of them were kind of new. And I'd like to know who you think are some of the potential league winners that may have emerged today. I have one if you need to think of one.
League winners that may have emerged today. I have a bit of a curveball that may have emerged over the Thursday night game. I was one of those people who anticipated Ezekiel Elliott to just muddle along, not really produce that much. Lo and behold, he put up 28 points in our league. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, going into the playoffs, if we don't have Stevenson, Ezekiel Elliott being pretty much one of the only options that the Patriots are going to have going forward, if he can do this, something similar to this, a little something like this, oh yeah, I think I might have a little something to lean on. This is what you've been banking on Ezekiel Elliott for. I've pocketed this man. I drafted Ezekiel Elliott. That's how long I've been holding Ezekiel Elliott.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
that right there.
Whoa.
So that's my curveball.
Wow. That's almost like meeting that's just meeting somebody who does something. It's like I never meet those people. You drafted him.
I drafted him.
That's wild, bro. I knew he wasn't available in our league. I didn't know you drafted.
You
drafted Zeke.
I'm that guy. He looks like me.
Well, yeah, I mean that's an amazing call because like he's the one who's clear. Like he's the clear league winner potentially because he won. He looks decent. Pittsburgh, they were still pretty decent against the run, but they were actually like a top 8 unit going into that game. But the thing that I was underestimating, because I thought he should be started over like Najee Harris and stuff, but I was not starting him over clearly like most of the running backs he should have been. Yeah. I was underestimating the pass catching work because the groundwork he was all right, but the pass catching work, like he did kind of what Brees did. You know what I mean? Like he just got so many targets. And the thing that I mean, clearly it just seems that Stevenson is not there. All the stuff that was happening to Stevenson, we're going to just add that to Zeke's already pass catching play. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
It wasn't like there was some other running back who came in and took a lot of work. It was like, nah, we'll just give it all to Zeke. And Zeke is a good pass catcher. He's not the fastest dude anymore, but he can make some moves here and there.
In that game that was missing a lot of players because they were hurt, that's almost like a showcasing saying that when they come back, Belichick, you see what I can do out here. So if these guys come back and they mess up a little bit, lean on me.
Belichick?
Yeah, no, he's saying Patriots, he showed that coach in this live performance that if these new players come back and we start having, other wide receivers, other players that we start giving the ball to, given that if they mess up a little bit, you saw what I did against the Steelers. I know how to go ahead and step up. I'm ready to go ahead and perform and produce. That's what I'm hoping Ezekiel Elliott can do. And that like who else does that team have to go on? Like
literally nobody else. So that's all they got. Like Demario Douglas was out. Like they are barren of options. And that's the thing I'm worried about. That's honestly the only thing I'm worried about. They lit it up in the first half, did absolutely nothing in the second half.
That's
the concern. Because I mean, even in game, the NFL adapted to you. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
like, that's the thing. That's
It moves fast.
Yeah.
But they just have no other option. So it's like, I just did not anticipate. And he looked so healthy. So that's what was surprising me. He was very spry out there.
Yeah. I'm going to get into my league winner, but I'm going to just answer. So Nino Pena, he has a question. He's a constant guy on PlayerProfiler.com. Shout out Nino. I hope I'm saying that right. Yes, I think that Rashee Rice is a very trustworthy option. He scored again. He's clearly the number one option outside of Kelsey. Like, this is a guy we can lean on, guys. Like, he is getting the targets. He is literally, like, all the drops. Like, he is one of the only trustworthy people in this receiving core for Patrick Mahomes, who they're still just struggling so much. Like, I got to give it to him. Like, I got to give it to Rashee. He can go.
Totally agree.
Yep. All right. So the guy who I think is a league winner for me, and it's not super surprising. He's balling out crazy, but I think Evan Ingram has an opportunity to really make a difference on some teams because, like, the lack of Christian Kirk really means a lot in the slot. And Evan Ingram is just able to do so much work all over the field. Calvin Ridley seems incredibly matchup dependent. And I just worry if Calvin Ridley is facing really tough press man coverage with really good outside corners like Cleveland has, he's just not the same as he is like if he's playing like a zone coverage type of team. Whereas Evan Ingram could just make it happen wherever. His matchups are pretty good moving forward. And I just think that there's so much opportunity for him because Trevor Lawrence, like, one, I don't think they're going to be in like negative game scripts like this all the time, but they're a pass first team. And so I do think that Evan Ingram has like a ton of upside moving forward. And if you just happen to be like holding on to him and the last few weeks you've seen the reward, I think you could definitely benefit in the playoffs with him. Yeah.
Tight ends this year. It's been a joy to watch the tight ends. I just recall how nervous I was going into this season. And man, we got so many surprises at that position. Bro. Goodness gracious.
Oh man, watching tight ends. I'm gonna let it be. I'm gonna let it be. I'm gonna let that be, young man. All right. So I'd like to know. Let's just go with another hit. Like, who do you think was a massive hit today?
All right, let me go with Lamar Jackson. Man, he went off today. 24 for 43, 316, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 11 carries, 70 yards on the ground, 38.6 PPR. The thing is, this is without Mark Andrews. The adjustment without his number one option is amazing to me. When we do our top 5, I've always given a lot of respect to the Ravens. Their adjustment, their defense, they always come correct. You know what I'm saying? They prepare for the next team. They adjust appropriately for them. That team, man, Lamar Jackson, I have to go and say, respect. Very good game. Very good game.
Like, I mean, the MVP is like all over the place this year. That was he had an MVP level performance today. And I know, guys, he didn't win the game. They won on special teams. But like, I do think that still like means something to keep your team in it, because this was one of those games where like the Ravens could like blow out the Rams, but the Ravens could easily lose to the Rams. The Rams kind of match up very well from every standpoint against the Ravens. Like, they're just one of those teams who's just like, if you just pick a team, like, oh yeah, the Rams, they match up perfectly to beat the Ravens. And so that's why I wasn't surprised it was close. Glad they won in the end, and I still think that they're continuing to move up our like top 5. But yeah, Lamar, he put out some MVP level play today.
That game was actually very good. Respect to the Rams. I actually speak on them as well. I mean, I really like what I saw in that game. That game was very good.
Yeah, and that's the next hit I'm going to talk about. I mean, is Cooper Kupp back? Are we here? Are we back, Cooper Kupp? Because man, you've been really killing us, sir. you've been doing us in. I did not have grades before.
Oh man,
this man stressing me out. But man, so Cooper Kupp, 8 of 10 for 115 and a touchdown, 25.5 PPR points. A lot of it came late, but honestly, that's kind of not that it's supposed to come late, but when it's crunch time, Matt Stafford was looking for him. I mean, we've been seeing him honestly look for Puka way more. Even early in the game, he was looking really heavily for Puka. But as the game went on, it was like, all right, yeah, Cooper Kupp is my guy. Let me get the ball to him. And he was delivering. He looked healthy. He looked good. I mean, this is a tough defense, an incredibly tough defense to do that type of stuff against. So that's at least encouraging. I'm going to confidently start putting Cooper Kupp back in my lineups again. Like, he's not going to be in the back end wide receiver 2 territory anymore. I'm a little scared still, but like if this is the possibility, I'm gonna just ride with the fact that Matt Stafford has that like unspoken connection with Cooper Kupp, and I'm gonna ride with it.
Yeah, I definitely put him on the exception list. He's a person who's shown us enough that he gains the favor. If you have any doubt at all, you can go ahead and say he's shown us enough tape where, I see what you're saying. Anybody else? Yeah, but this man, I'm gonna lean on this talent because he just shows up. The man
Yep.
shows up and wants to. He showed
Yep.
that as well.
And I'm not sure if Tutu came back. I know he got banged up. I don't know if that has anything to do with like the increased target share that Cooper Kupp saw, but I doubt him. I think he's just Cooper Kupp. And then Nino, like a lot of people sold him, bro. Like a lot of people sold him. And honestly, it was probably a good move because he was terrible for like 5 weeks straight. And so hopefully you capitalized and got something really solid as well for Cooper Kupp. Selling low on him or selling hopefully high on him after he had a decent game. All right. I'm tapping on my desk like it was going to change something. All right. So let's see. I'm going to go through some of these so we can kind of more quickly move through some of these names. So I'm going to call this like a buy or sell. And so I basically want you, Eric, to tell me, are you buying either the good or bad performance or are you selling it? So like, let's say somebody kind of random has a decent day. Are you buying that? It's like, no, I'm not buying that. That's just kind of random, like crazy. Like Chase Brown, I like the talent, but I'm not going to buy that he's going to do this on a week-to-week basis. That's
no.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't buy that. Yeah.
All right, so let's
stock there.
No stock there. There's stock there, but not unless Mixon's injured, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's start with Drake London. 10 for 11 for 172, 29.2 PPR.
I wouldn't invest in that. I can't buy that. You know,
not buy that stock?
No.
Why not?
It was a very good performance. I mean, amazing. I mean, Drake London has shown you that he has the capacity to do it, the potential. It's the system, his quarterback. I mean, let's be real. Kyle Pitts scored today.
Yeah, that's wild. I didn't even know I thought he was allergic. I thought he had to like
you know what I'm saying? So
like he did. And he scored early too, which scared me. I was like, man, nobody ranked him high.
So I think the Falcons, they just stepped outside their mold today.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't anticipate and expect this because this isn't something that they've been doing with any level of consistency. This is something a lot of people have been saying that they should approach, going to Kyle Pitts, leveraging Drake London. He's a very good wide receiver. But thinking that this is something that you can expect week to week at the end of this year, it's a risk that I'm not willing to take.
I agree with you. I think that Drake London to me, he's a solid wide receiver too. I'm confident to start him because even in the games where they're really heavy run script, he's still going to lead that team in targets and get like some decent runs. So I'm fine with that. Mm-hmm. But to expect him to go for I like the targets. The targets are fine. The yardage is the thing that was really wild. And so much of that came really late when they were like trying to make that comeback. He was just getting every target clearly. So I agree with you. I'm buying the player, but I'm not buying this performance as something that could happen again real soon.
Agreed.
His schedule's pretty decent. All right, let's go to this one. I don't want to lead the witness too much, but Adam Thielen, buying or selling? I don't even know what he did. He just was terrible. What's not buying or selling Adam Thielen being terrible?
You have to. Whether or not he's going to be consistently not performing.
Awful.
Oh yeah, I would expect that because his quarterback, even the announcers say he looks like he's running for his life. He's jittery out there. They're not comfortable. They fired the coach on this team, the coach that was the head coach when he was doing well. So that's another knife into the chamber of whether or not we can expect anything good coming from Adam Thielen. That team is not doing well.
Yeah.
What you had from Adam Thielen is what we call great trade bait, and hopefully you acted on that.
Yeah.
Right now, he could be a bench warmer on your team or introduce him back to the waiver wire because that team has been pretty much figured out. They know that they need to cover Adam Thielen. Don't give him certain routes. Don't give him certain plays. Don't give him certain looks. And in response, Bryce Young hasn't been given the guidance. He doesn't have it together right now to go ahead and figure out how to respond to that team. They even went to Miles Sanders to shake things up today. This team is reaching. They can't wait for the end of the season.
Yes,
that's how Carolina is right now. This coming from a Carolina fan.
I know, man. It's a lean. I don't even want to get into the draft stuff, but it's a tough year this year. It's a tough year this year. But Miles Sanders actually was okay. I think he went for 10 for 73 or something like that. That's what the team has to do. They have to just heavily learn the ball with Chuba and Miles Sanders. Like you said, teams have All we have to do is cover Adam Thielen. Mingo can make some big plays. They just got to connect. But that's all again on Bryce Young. Like if Andy Dalton was starting in this quarterback position, Adam Thielen would be a top 10 receiver still. Like Chuba Hubbard will probably be okay. Like I don't think that'll be crazy or anything. But this offense will be getting points more consistently. And I'm not a huge Andy Dalton fan, but we saw what happened when he got to play that 1 week. Yeah, Bryce Young is just like he is the reason why Adam Thielen will consistently struggle. And guys, you would hate to put Adam Thielen on the waiver wire, and he did have a great game, but like we're heading to the playoffs now. You know what I mean? Like the roster positions you have are so valuable, especially now. Like this is handcuff season. You cannot afford for your running back to get injured and not have the immediate starter, especially if they're going to have bell cow status. Like so, if you have a Tony Pollard on your team. I'm putting Rico Dowdle on my team before I'm putting Adam Thielen now. Like, I need to have Rico Dowdle on this team. I need to have Tajay Spears, especially with Derrick Henry. Like, the fact that he was already banged up coming into this week. Like, having those players to me are more important than players who are just not going to give you any value. And I just do not see a world where Bryce Young gets it together and is consistently getting Adam Thielen work. Because to me, the best that you're going to get from Adam Thielen, like he had one of these games that was like 7 for 9 for like 70. That's you'll be so happy if you got that now from Adam Thielen, and that kind of tells you all you need to know.
And it's the business aspect. As the year goes forward, we know the Panthers aren't playing for anything. Mingo's a trookie. It makes more sense to start trying to target him heavily, get more comfort with him, give him some confidence, make some kind of rapport between him and Bryce Young going forward. Yeah. Thielen, everyone going into the season was saying he's not the youngest man in the world. He's one of the older wide receivers, and he's not going to be a part of our future. We don't anticipate him to go up in talent anymore in his career, so you wouldn't really pepper him with any targets to really give him any kind of bang at the end of the season that means nothing. So more than likely, you would lean on Chuba Hubbard, another younger player. You would get Miles Sanders. You would try to go ahead and go to Mingo or one of the tight ends and just try to go ahead and get the younger players more involved in a season that's pretty much lost.
Yep. Yeah, man. So let's do another one real quick. Buy or sell. So are you gonna buy James Cook? James Cook, he went 10 for 58 on the ground, 5.8 per carry, 5 of 5 in the air for 83. That's where he really made his work, and then he got a touchdown. So buy or sell James Cook.
I am biased, and with bias starts with a B because I'm buying James Cook. James Cook is on my team. Shoot, I was watching that game, excited. This is the 4th game in a row with over 100 all-purpose scrimmage yards. I know they fired their offensive coordinator, but this guy seems to really want to get James Cook involved. He realizes James Cook is rather versatile, even from when I look at him from the eye test perspective, because he can run between the tackles, he can run outside, he can catch the ball, and they have him as the lead back. Of course, they have Latavius Murray. A lot of people, this is a fantasy show, was looking into potentially picking up Latavius Murray because he vultures a lot of touchdowns. That is something that still happens. But James Cook has been finding the end zone, like you said. Being involved in the passing game has really helped this man really show up. And I think the Bills understand that even the way they were using him in the beginning of the season with the first offensive approach of that offensive coordinator, this new one thinks that really pretty much was the right set of approach for James Cook. He does have that set of skills to really be very efficient in doing so, and he's been showing that for the past 4 weeks. I am buying James Cook.
I'm buying him too. This is what we saw coming out of Georgia, right? Like the between the tackle stuff is nice. He definitely shows the ability to do it. But coming out of Georgia, he was basically like a satellite back. He was basically a pass catching running back first before anything else. And so I'm just finally glad to see the Bills like really trying to like showcase that. And honestly, over the past few weeks, they've been getting it done in different ways. Like they've been getting it done on the ground, but also in the air with James Cook. And even though he's been getting it done, I mean, his snaps have been kind of the same. They're not dramatically higher or lower than Latavius Murray's, but when he's on the field, he's getting the rock. Which is kind of weird and predictable to me from like a defensive standpoint, but he's still just getting it done. I'm gonna continue to rely on him moving forward into the playoffs. He has that big play ability that it's hard to really match. And I do think like basically like their schedule is not super easy, but they got to win out now. Like the Bills, like so they just beat the Chiefs. They have to win out to be in the playoff hunt. I think they are going to have to really put in some work. And I put out a video on my personal TikTok fantasy football strategist on TikTok, basically saying like there's one team that's out of the playoffs that I truly think could win the Super Bowl. I do think it's the Buffalo Bills. I'm not predicting they're going to win, but I think that they have everything. They have all the tools to make some hell in the playoffs for any team. Like
Oh
they can
yes.
go on the road and smack anyone in the mouth. And I mean, the fact that they've been like a top 5 offense over the last few weeks, they were the number 1 offense from a yardage standpoint over the last 3 weeks. They've actually been like a top 5 defense over the last 3 weeks too, on sneakily. And they're also like, besides Matt Milano, who's out for the season, Tre'Davious White, who's out for the season, the healthiest they've been on defense. So this is a team who could really like make some hay. So I'm investing in these weapons. The one I'm not investing in honestly is like Diggs right now.
Yeah, Buffalo. I mean, they came in with high anticipation, and they just have been. Everyone I'm saying they've just been underperforming. If Buffalo, if you're playing Buffalo and they're clicking, you're probably going to lose.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Like this turnovers and it's bad luck. Honestly, that's to me like the reason why they've lost so many games. They're scoring so many points. Their defense has actually been pretty decent. And honestly, their turnovers are not. They're way more hyped up than they actually are. I think over the last 3 weeks, their turnover margin was 0. It's not. I mean, it's not like plus 1.3 or something like some of the best teams, but it's not like -1 like some of the worst teams. Like it's 0. So I do think that they're definitely a dark horse team. All right, let's see what else. What else, man? Buy or sell Amon-Ra St. Brown, 3 of 9 for 21 yards.
That is a very good question. I want to say I still ride with Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Okay.
Because even today, Sam Laporta had a poor game. That team knows where they need to go to perform well. They don't play well unless they get the ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown. They've shown that and they've proven that. So I think that they know what they need to fix. I think that team believing that they need to get the ball to him with high volume and just fix whatever they've been doing for the past few weeks, which just knocked them off. They have a very poor defense as well. He can't affect that side of the ball. I do buy Amon-Ra St. Brown going forward. I still stick with that.
I agree with you. I'm gonna buy him, sell this performance, right? Like this performance was an outlier. I'm always going to be worried, and I think this may be. We have to check. This may be one of the few games that Jared Goff has that's not in a dome for the rest of the year. It's just something where Jared Goff outside, away, like that's just not his thing.
I did not know this wasn't under a dome. That is the thing about him. If it right off, hey, we should have known. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, like when Jared Goff plays outdoors in this time of year, even that's the thing. Like, I'm not really. Oh my bad, Joe. This alarm goes off. I'm not relying on Jared Goff in those types of settings. I'm not like fading him and saying like you got to sit him, but if I'm saying starter sit, like people are asking a lot like Fields versus Goff. I was like, that's not even like a question. That's Fields. But I mean, unfortunately, I probably started like CJ Stroud over Goff too. But I'm just not going to be relying on Goff. So I do think like that's somewhat of an outlier. Even Goff, when he's on the road in a dome, like they'll play Minnesota, like they played New Orleans last week. Like he'll be fine, and the offense will be fine. So I'm not worried about Amon-Ra. I'm not worried about Sam Laporta. I'm not worried about any of the weapons of that offense. They're going to be all right.
Yep.
And this was it was a bad game. I'm surprised they lost, honestly, because they just played the Bears a few weeks ago, and the Bears did the same thing that they did today, but they just couldn't stop them. So that's kind of what happens.
Totally agree. That was kind of a non-expected L. I would have lost some money if I put some on that. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, speaking of the Bears, buy or sell DJ Moore, 26.8 PPR points.
DJ Moore, the way they use him, I buy him. I mean, the Bears use him for everything. I mean, Mooney, isn't he on this team? I thought he was a guy that people were looking forward to a couple of years ago. He does not exist anymore. If the ball is in the air, it's going to land somewhere around DJ Moore. It's incomplete. It's in his hands or it's going to the other team. DJ Moore is the wide receiving core for the Bears. It's unbelievable how frequently they throw to this man.
Like he's amazing, man. Like, and honestly, like, because 8 targets is not even too much, but for a team who doesn't throw that much, it's pretty decent.
What they have, 8 throws?
Yeah,
shoot,
100% target share. But he was like 6 of 8 for 68 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 carries for 20, which is always nice to see, in another touchdown. Like like you said, he's so heavily involved. I'm not expecting 26 points every week, but I think that he's going to very easily live in the 15 to 19 PPR range if he's healthy. And if this team is really going to like keep trying to throw like this. I mean, they're out of the playoff race, but they're still trying to see what they have in Justin Fields. So I think that connection's still going to be there because they're I don't know if they're best friends, but they're really close.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. DJ Moore for sure. Utility man. He like Debo Samuel's light.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And that's
Uh,
saying something.
let's say. I'm just looking at. I want to. Well, we got to talk about the Texans a little bit. I mean, they had -4 passing yards at the half. So CJ Stroud, and this is kind of hard to say because he's injured. But what are you buying or selling? Let me say this: are you buying or selling that he is now going to have a performance downturn for the rest of the rookie season?
I don't think it's going to be a performance downturn, but I do want to say it's probably going to be not as good as we've anticipated. We're still going to be impressed by what he can do. He had a very tough matchup. The Jets are very good. I think they for 30 games in a row have held quarterbacks for under 300 yards or something.
Mhm.
That's phenomenal.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah, CJ Stroud, he lost Tank Dell last week. He had a very good connection with Tank Dell.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of human aspect that goes into that. He had a great relationship with him. He felt bad about the man getting hurt. And going forward, you have to just readjust all of a sudden where your ride or die person in your rookie season is no longer there. You're still going through a lot of first. Your week 14 first, your week 15 first. You no longer have your other rookie who was there on your side handling the ups and downs anymore. So I think going forward it'll be a little bit more difficult for CJ Stroud, but I think the Jets were a very difficult matchup. I just
Mhm.
think the loss of Tank Dell is more impactful than what we can really judge for right now. And I think we'll see that in the way that he plays in the upcoming games. It's not going to be like he's lighting it up because Tank Dell's not out there. But
Yeah.
I do think I still buy him. I believe in CJ Stroud because it took me so long to go ahead and be on his side. I mean, from what I've seen, I was like, he knows what he's doing. I mean,
Yeah.
he's in the NFL. He wasn't the number one pick. He's making the Texans knock out. So
I know, and that's so. This is the thing. Like, I'm not buying that he's gonna have a downturn, but what I am buying is I do think that his bad performances are somewhat predictable. Now, like I said, I was starting him over like Jared Goff, but he was not in my like top 10. Like I was not super interested in CJ Stroud this week. The Jets, like you said, that 30 game thing is ridiculous. Like they're an incredible matchup, or incredibly tough matchup. And also, CJ Stroud on the road is not like super awesome. Like he's okay, like he's solid, but him at home is really where you're making his hay, and especially him indoors. Even if it's on the road, him indoors is pretty decent too. Kind of similar to like Jared Goff, honestly. But him on the road outdoors, I just knew this was going to be a bad game. Not that the weather was that bad, but I mean, the winds were like close to 13, 15 miles per hour. Not easy, and especially in that stadium where you get sometimes swirling winds at MetLife because the way it's like designed is weird. I knew it wasn't going to be a good day. And so the thing is that's good is I there's a lot of teams where I have CJ Stroud and like Justin Herbert or CJ Stroud and Justin Fields. And this was one of those weeks where not the Herbert side, but I'm happy I started like Justin Fields on the multiple teams I got there. And I just think that you got to kind of play it by ear that way. I don't think he's any more like a locked in guaranteed start, especially now if Nico's going to be out. You lost Tank Dell for the season. Hopefully Nico's not done for the season. Maybe it's like a week, or maybe he's healthy going into next week. Dalton Schultz didn't play either. Like you're just kind of missing too many weapons now.
yeah,
And for like a DeMeco Ryans team, I would expect them to try their best to lean on the run. And Devin Singletary actually did okay today. So that's
agreed.
kind of what I think. I'm buying into CJ Stroud, but I'm also buying into him being rather predictable on a week by week basis. Like he's not a locked in start every week for me moving forward.
Understood. I can
Yeah.
agree with that.
All right, so we're heading into a massive, massive, massive game in a couple minutes. Just wanted to quickly preview, and I wanted to get you locked in right now. Who you picking? Cowboys, Philly. Pick right now.
Philly.
Philly?
Yes, I believe they got to be too pissed off of getting. Let me of
Go
getting
ahead.
a whole lot of
Say it, say
four-letter
it,
words.
say it, say
Getting
it.
that last week is all I got to say. You got the brain. I'm telling you, it reminds me of when I played football. When you come off a loss like that, you just looking to bust some heads. They should come
Yeah.
out there to bust some heads, make a statement. All of America's watching. All of America seen you get your ass whooped last week. Let all of America watch you whoop some ass this week.
Yeah. I mean, so adding some analysis to that, but a lot of that vibe is really kind of the reason. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, there is something to being so publicly embarrassed and everyone basically saying like you are a fraud, like your entire team is a fraud. Jalen Hurts without the tush push is garbage. All that stuff I do think matters. The matchup is not easy. But well, let me not say that. Offensively, Dallas can do some work, and Philly has been horrendous on defense.
Yes.
Horrendous. But a few things for me. One, the way that Dallas plays the cover two, and a lot of teams have been playing cover two against Philly, they are daring Philly to run. And obviously, Philly said this week that they want to run the ball more. So I do think that they're going to lean on Swift and try their best to get that going against Dallas. Two, when you have cover two, you're really trying, like cover two deep safeties. You're trying to take away those deep shots. You're trying to take away A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. They're getting Dallas Goedert back. The best thing you could do against a cover two is have a seam-killing tight end. You got that in Dallas Goedert. You're going to have that option now. I do think that's going to open up the passing game for Jalen Hurts. And I also think, like, what is the stat? So Dallas, they play the third most amount of man coverage in the NFL. And according to PFF, A.J. Brown has the highest receiving grade in the league when facing man coverage at 92.4.
Damn.
This is just, like, when it's man coverage, he don't care who it is. He's just going to dominate them. I think CD's going to have a good day. I think Dak's going to have a good day. I think Tony Pollard's going to be startable for sure. I think you start everyone basically in this game. But I do think that Philly's going to take it this game. These are my top two quarterbacks this week, so that's what tells you the type of shootout I'm expecting.
Over the years, I have enjoyed a lot of Philly and Dallas games. They tend to be a lot of barn burners from time to time, and I have had some epic comebacks based off these games. Back when the tight end for the Cowboys, I've been down like 30 points, and they've had like 3 touchdown performances where I just came out of nowhere. And the trash I talked that day afterwards was epic. Oh, my God.
Yeah, man. And the other thing to me in this matchup, and this is not analysis, this is all vibes. We're due for a bad Dak game. We're due for like, oh yeah, Dak Prescott. Everyone in the on the Monday morning.
That's the Dak I know.
That like using LaShawn McCoy, like all the like Stephen A. Smith, like they're all gonna come out and say, hey, you see, Dak, you messed up again. Like we're due for one. Like he is in the MVP race and well deserved. But we're just due for him to falter. That's all the analysis I got on that. Like it's just we're due for one of those Dak throwing 2 to 3 picks. Even though this is an amazing matchup, him potentially not taking advantage of it. Hopefully he still performs. Again, I ranked him really high this week because he's deserved it. But I would not be surprised if he has like a critical mistake to lose the game.
Yeah, Philly wants to expose him. These teams want to make each other just look awful. I mean, it's a great division game. The rivalry here is just so amazing. These teams would love to be the worst thing for the other. It's going to be a great game.
And the implications in this game in particular, if Philly loses, there's a good chance that Dallas could win the division, and then Philly's on the road in the playoffs. That's a big-ass deal. But if Philly wins, it's possible they kind of lock it up within the next week, the number 1 seed. And so everyone else is just fighting for all the other spots. So, there's like massive implications to this game. Because honestly, 2 of the best teams outside of like San Francisco and the NFC are in this division. And the fact that one of them, whoever loses this game, it may be a harder road for them to win the division now.
Yeah. Yeah, one of these teams has impacted my top 5.
Yeah. How's it going, Theo?
Yo.
He's letting us hop on this show and waste these people's time. No, we're having a good time. All right, so we like to always end whenever we do our talks with like ranking our top 5s. I always make Eric go first because I'm always like delinquent and haven't thought about it yet. So Eric, why don't you go first and give me your top 5? Because the last time we did our top 5, they had not played the Chiefs Green Bay game yet, and we both had the Chiefs in our top 5. I wanted to know what you think because they lost last week and they just lost again. So what do you think?
Well, that's going to impact the top 5 there, Tumi. I can't go ahead and keep them there. That would be some BS. So I'm going to have to go ahead and make an adjustment here.
Make that adjustment, bro.
We're going to keep number 1, the 49ers. If you need to go ahead and ask me why, look up Debo. Number 2, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to keep the Ravens there. The Ravens won today. I like that team. Lamar, he's doing his thing, even adjusting without Mark Andrews. Keaton Mitchell, they'll probably figure out ways to go ahead and get him the ball in space. Odell looking spry out there. You know what I'm saying?
He's looking good.
Third team I'm going to have to roll with here. I've been saying the Eagles, but they got really beaten badly by the 49ers. However, that is the 49ers. So I'm still going to say the Eagles. But but now number 4, the fourth one was the Chiefs. that it no longer is the case. I'm going to have to say that's the Dolphins now. The Dolphins, that offensive explosion, even if their defense, which has been picking up, doesn't show up to work, their offense, you got to keep up with them. So I'm going to say
Yep.
number 4 is going to be the Dolphins. And number 5, respectfully, I'm going to say is the Cowboys now. Dak and them have been playing well. The defense is, it's not 49ers level and it's not as good as they were at the beginning of the season, but they have been clicking on offense. They have a lot of weapons. And if Dak can go ahead and keep it together somehow and just change exactly what everybody anticipated his trajectory of being a turnover machine, not really a game manager, but actually being like a very dominant starting caliber type of quarterback, running that team with an awesome defense, I'm going to put Cowboys at number 5 now.
All right. I'm gonna, man. Yeah, I was about to say I have the exact same top 5. I don't. But the same top 5 teams, just slightly different order for me. 49ers. That's who I had last week. I'm still rocking with them. I still have the Eagles number 2, and it's honestly less based on what they did last week because it was bad, but more so based on what I'm expecting to happen in this game. So obviously, if they just get beat up again, they'll probably fall down. But I'm just expecting them to come out, show some pride, show some Philly heart, and get a win. I'm then going to go to the Ravens. I was very impressed by what I saw today. Defensively, not as much, but really, that is a game where I could easily have seen a lesser team lose that game, and they still fought and they stayed in it and they won in the end. Even though again it was special teams in overtime, but that matters, guys. That's part of the game.
For sure.
The next one, I'm gonna go with the Dolphins. I'm gonna agree with that. So the only switch I have really is like Eagles and Ravens, but I'm gonna go with the Dolphins next. We didn't talk about it. I do think that the discussion about the MVP is kind of nuts because Tyreek has so dominated that it shouldn't even honestly really be a discussion. It's only because we so proactively promote quarterbacks for the MVP, and it's really like clearly Tyreek's winning the Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
But then if that's the case, why do we even have an MVP? He's clearly the most valuable player. He is literally unstoppable right now. His pace would actually completely wash Calvin Johnson's pace. Like he is putting up right now, if he stayed healthy, he is putting up the best wide receiver season of all time.
It's
because
incredible.
of that, I got to keep him there. He's the clear MVP to me. So that's why he's there in the top 5 now. And then the Cowboys for me are 5th. They're just playing at a crazy clip. So I'm going to give them the props.
Incredible. Also, big ups to Joey Flacco. That man has been playing very well for Cleveland. I mentioned it a little bit. I was like, yo, Flacco came off that couch like he got something to prove. His name ain't Joe Flacco. Call me Joey Flacco.
Joey Flacco. He's like, I told you last week, I was like, man, that man don't care. He throws a pick, has the same expression on his face. He doesn't care. It's like, bro, I like he's like a guy who's retired from their job and literally is like, hey, I'm just doing this for fun. I really don't care if you fire me or not.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Do what you do. I'm doing me.
And now he's officially announced they're starting him rest of the season. So this is what we're gonna expect from him now. So
handling business.
Business. We got some comments. I just want to read them real quick. So man, this sucks. This sucks, man. This is the time of year. These losses today really hurt. The Mike Evans, the Jamar Chases, the Adam Thielens, Amon-Ra St. Browns, those cost people today, man. I'm sorry, Jose.
Yeah.
And then I got another one here. I think, so Theo answered this one. Yes, and Jay Herb will be shut down. Yeah, because Chargers are out of the playoffs, guys. So he's likely not going to play again. I'm going to try to get Fields, but it doesn't work. I can't read. Who should I grab rest of the season? Minshew, Stafford, Flacco, Browning, Zappy, Trubisky. And Theo got it 100% right. You got to go get my man Browning.
Fields is available?
Well, if Fields is available, you get Fields.
Yeah, for sure.
But he's not going to be available likely. If that doesn't work, Jake Browning, I think he's going to be healthy. He just he's running that offense with a high level of efficiency. It's just clicking for that offense right now. So I'm going to just ride the hot hand like Theo said. All right, guys. I think the game probably started. So our idea for this is we want to go until the games kind of get you going for the games. I believe that Philly's going to win as well. And we just want to be a safe space for you to come vent. If you lost like your week, if you added the playoffs, yada yada, this is the space for you, man. But also, we just want to come here and just really download as much information as we can and give those instant reactions to like the hits and misses of the day. So, for the inaugural show, we really appreciate it. Hopefully, you'll see us again if it went well. But yeah, thank you so much, Eric, for hopping on, man. You want to say anything to the people?
Hey, anytime. Just put your comments up there and we can go ahead and jump to it and jump right there and go ahead and address that right there. This is fun for me all the time. I'm watching no matter what. We'll be here next week for sure.
Yep. All right, man. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Peace.